Hey guys, welcome back to the Growers Corner. So today, this video, I wanted to go ahead and tie in with our first video and kind of finish up our discussion about harvesting and now talk about curing and storage, right? Because it doesn't really matter how awesome it was when you grew it, how awesome it was when you harvested it. If you don't cure it and store it properly, it's all kind of a waste of time, right? So, first things first. If you did a good job during the harvesting process in taking off leaves and managing how quickly the moisture left the plant, right? When you've gotten to that point where your branch snaps, okay, and you've got a good clean dry break, now you can take those bunches and you can put them in a burping situation. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do that. One is the traditional paper bag, right? I started out using that method. That method works fine. I have found that my quality has gone up when I quit using the paper bag and went to a plastic situation. The reason for this, I believe, is that the paper draws out some of those essential terpene oils, and so the flavor is affected and the aroma is affected. Whereas a plastic situation does not draw out that extra moisture, does not draw out those extra oils and contribute to sort of a bland, kind of a papery tasting and smelling product, right? So, I like to burp in a non-absorbent, non-permeable situation or container, and you're going to burp it several times, you know what I mean, over the course of the curing process. It could take another week, 2 weeks. The general rule of thumb is the longer the cure, the better the quality. So if you burp every day, and you do this over the course of 10, 12 days, a month, the better your product is going to be overall. And you'll get to a point where when you start closing it up at night so that you don't add that extra moisture to it because it's been open all day drying out, right? You'll get to a point where the next morning when you open it up, it hasn't really re-moistened. It hasn't really plumped back up like it has the previous nights that you've been burping it. Because that first night, if you remember, you put it in, it was real dusty. The next morning, it looked like it was almost dang near fresh, right? Well, you've been burping it now for about 10 days. When it gets to that point to where even when you open it the next morning, it's still got that nice crisp break, you're good, you're done. Now you can store it in pretty much anything you want. I don't generally like to burp in glass because it's too sealed. For whatever reason, plastic totes, plastic bags, even the heavy duty ones, guys, the 3-4 mil, they breathe a little bit. And so it's not that bad. Glass, I have found to be really bad unless you dried the absolute piss out of it before you put it in there. Even just that 8 hours while you're sleeping, it moistens up so much. If you don't completely remove the contents of that jar and, you know, separate it out to air out and then put it back in there, you're just running the risk of mold because it traps so much moisture so well that it doesn't breathe enough. So for that reason, I tend to shy away from glass jars. Now, if you've been burping in plastic and you get to the point where in the morning when you open it up, it's still dry, go ahead. Fill your glass jars, guys. No problem. Make sure they're in a dark environment so that you don't kill your potency via the heat and sunshine, right? As long as you store those jars in a cool, dark place, everything should be golden. All right, guys. Until next time, this is the Growers Corner.